What's cooking, y'all? That's right, we're back for another episode of What's Cooking. So this is the first time joining me. My name is Meredith, and this is my little cooking video. If you are joining me on YouTube, make sure that you click that subscribe button down below and that little bell icon so you can get a notification every time I put up a new video, which is usually a couple times a week. And if you're following me and watching this on Instagram TV, make sure you head over to my profile and hit follow so you can get all of my videos over there, which also then links to the recipes for all these super yummy foods that I make. Again, first timers, this is my little cooking show where I take existing recipes and adapt them to make them healthier for my family and hopefully your family. So tonight we are making an easy pizza stuffed squash. Originally I wanted to use a delicata squash, but they were out of them at the store. So we are subbing in acorn squash. It's still gonna work, still gonna taste great, still really healthy. So what I've started with, I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I've cut 2 of these acorn squash in half. They're probably small to medium size. You don't want real big ones. I mean, if you're serving kids, obviously they're not gonna eat like a giant acorn squash. So, and I scoop the seeds out, cut it in half, scoop the seeds out, and then I'm just going to spray this with a little olive oil. If you don't have a sprayer, you can just do a little drizzle and kind of rub it in. And then just a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna lay it face down on my baking sheet here. Normally, I would be covering my baking sheet with parchment paper, but I ran out. So I covered it with foil and just used some non-stick cooking spray to spray it to make sure that the squash isn't gonna stick. I am gonna bake these at 400 for about 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want them completely cooked through because they will cook more once we fill them. I just want them cooked enough that I can scrape some of that middle out of there and add it to our pizza mixture. So these are gonna go in for about 15 to 20 minutes until that flesh is pierced easily with a fork, and then I am going to get the rest of my stuff together and start making my filling. So I'll be back shortly. Right, I'm back. So I've got my pan here, my cast iron skillet, heating over medium heat, and I'm going to add just a small drizzle of olive oil in there. And now I'm going to add in my chicken sausage. I get my chicken sausage from our local grocery store. At their butcher counter, they make their sausages fresh daily, so I love getting my chicken sausage through them. And I just get a garlic, basil, and pepper flavor, but you can get any kind of sausage that you want. Totally up to you guys. This is just my favorite one, and it happens to go really, really nicely with pizza flavored stuff. So I just squeeze it out of the casing, and then I brown it in the pan, just like ground beef or ground turkey, whatever. So I just get it out of here and chop it up and brown it. After this has been cooking for a couple of minutes, I'm going to throw in an onion that I've diced up. It is you can either use like a small onion or half of a large onion. You don't want one too big. And then about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. So I'm going to wash my hands because they're gross and full of chicken. And then we will start cooking that chicken sausage up real nice and add in our other ingredients. So let me just get my spoon. So I just chop it up in here. If there is any grease, then you're gonna want to drain that out too after you've cooked it all the way through. But usually chicken sausage doesn't have too much in it. There's not a lot of fat in there. That's another reason why I like using it. So I'm just going to cook this up and brown it up. After a couple minutes, add in my onions and my garlic, and then I'll be back to show you the rest of the filling. Okay, so my chicken sausage is all finished cooking through. So now I'm going to add in a can of diced tomatoes that I've drained really well. You don't want a ton of extra liquid in there because the squash will release some, and so will the spinach once we add that back in. So that goes in, and then I'm adding about 6 to 8 ounces of chopped spinach, and I'm just going to cook this until it wilts down. And then we are going to add our squash that once it's done in the oven. You also want to let it cool slightly so you can actually like handle it to scoop it out. If you don't wait, you can use a hot pad or something to hold on to it and scoop it out. Just be careful and don't burn yourself, because it will be warm after being in the oven. So once that is done, I'm going to take it out and scrape most of the filling into here with this stuff. And I'm also going to add a little pizza sauce, but I'm going to do that at the end after everything has mixed together, just to see how much liquid is left in the bottom. Because again, you don't want to add too much liquid, otherwise it'll kind of get all juicy when you rebake it in the squash. So I'm going to let this cook down, pop my squash out of the oven, and I'll be back to show you the end of this. Okay, the squash is done. I've scooped out most of the middle, so there's pretty much just the shell remaining, a little bit of squash around the edges, just so it holds its shape. And I mixed the rest of the filling, or the inside of the squash, in with this filling. Now I'm just going to add some Italian seasoning, and then I'm going to add in a little pizza sauce. There is quite a bit of liquid in the bottom, so after I mix this around, when I'm filling up my squash boats again, I will just drain some of that liquid off, because I don't want that sitting in the bottom there. Well, this is almost empty, so I'm probably adding between a quarter and a half a cup. You don't need a lot, just some to get that like pizza flavor in there. So I'm just going to mix this up, scoop this back into my squash shells, tap it with a little mozzarella cheese, and then pop it back in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, just until that cheese has melted nicely. Then you can also broil it for a minute or two if you want to like crisp up the cheese. And then just garnish it with some fresh basil if you want, and then that's it. So I'm going to finish this up and I will show you guys what it looks like when it's all done. Thank you for joining me, and again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can get notifications every time I post, which again is a couple times a week. So be sure to stay tuned and don't miss a healthy recipe for your family. Thanks, guys.